Hello and welcome to the 90s Mags podcast, Newcastle United podcast hosted by three lifelong Newcastle United fans. Myself, D-Man, joined by my co-host Jefferson and AC. How you guys doing today?
Good,
Yo, yo,
good,
yo.
good. Very well, man. Very well.
Yeah?
Please be in the house again. Let's
Okay.
do this.
Yeah, happy with the first episode that we recorded. Things going well. The reception's been well, I see.
I'm in
Got-
shock. I'm in shock. I'm in shock by the support we've had in the AC.
yeah, I have to
In
say, it totally blew me away of how many people watched the video and liked it, and you know, uh, you know, very thankful for the support and everyone
Big
showing
thank
for
you,
us,
big thank you. Yeah,
and
big thank you to subscribers.
Thank you guys.
especially knowing
And we
it's our first episode as well.
That's it. That's it. So the support, we much appreciate for the support. So just keep liking the content. Tell your friends, your family, get the subscription numbers up. We really appreciate it. So yeah, man. Can't thank you enough. We're gonna keep building, give you more of what you like about Newcastle United and some other clubs throughout the season and stuff. But yeah, happy with the first episode. So let's go. Let's go.
We here,
90s
So
Mags here to stay.
that's
We here.
we
that's
here.
it. That's it. South side. But anyway, so we've got a lot to cover this episode. We're gonna talk transfers, Euros, and obviously the fixtures list has been released for the upcoming season. So we'll start with the transfers, the transfer activity. Put it out to both of you. Like, how do you think we've done so far? Any thoughts? Any concerns? What are you thinking?
Do you want to go first, Jefferson, on this one?
Yeah,
Uh,
let's let Jefferson leave with this one.
oh man. Kicking off the vibe today. Okay. Well, listen, I think when you look at Lloyd Kelly, who we've got over the line, by the way, solid signing, solid signing. He's going to provide cover, isn't he, at centre back and obviously left back as well, which is
Mm,
very much needed, particularly with the injuries we had to Jamal Lascelles and Sven Botman. Obviously, he knows the manager really well versed in the Premier League. Obviously, the concerns I do have is that although he's a good age at 25, he only made 23 appearances in the Premier League. So are we then taking on another injury-prone player? So what I'm hoping
sorry.
is, oh,
Is that
sorry,
25? Is that 25 appearance this last season or
last season just gone.
right? Okay.
I guess the idea would be for him to be rotated, so we can get better use out of him. So that could work
Mm,
if he's not stretched and overutilized. And of course, as you can see in the photo, we all saw the interview. He was very, very pleased to be joining our
mm.
club, which is what we want. We want someone that loves us and wants to play for us.
And
Yeah, definitely.
go on,
Sorry.
AC, go on.
No, I was just going to say, he definitely comes across very confident and very happy for the signing. And one of those things when looking on social media and the response from Bournemouth fans as well, saying that, you got a great player, look after him. And I think the Bournemouth fans are quite gutted about it. And, I've analysed Kelly here and there when he plays for Bournemouth, and he's a good player. But I have to admit, like you said, Jefferson, the injury record there does worry me a little bit. But at the same time, if we rotate enough, and you got to think, we should be having Hall at left back as well. And that's something that actually at this moment is still pending. If, he was on loan for us last season, but I'm pretty sure we should be getting him across the line as a signing as
Yeah.
well. So hopefully those two interchaining as well, we should be okay on that left-hand side, hopefully.
I mean, I think it's a good signing. It's a solid signing. Nothing spectacular, but I don't think, in defence, given what we've got, I don't think we need spectacular. We just need someone who can come in and do the job. Like I said, he can play the multitude of positions at left centre back and left back. Been watching him. I don't know too much about him, but I've seen him a little bit. He's quite pacey. He's strong on the ball, and he's similar to Botman. He does like to spray a pass. Maybe not as clinical with it as Botman, but like you said, it's the injury record that is a bit concerning. Considering our record of injuries anyway, it is a bit concerning. But my question to you guys is, and I'll ask you, AC, does he come in to? We know Botman's injured, right?
Right.
And we also know that Dan Burn played that position at left centre back towards the end of
Hmm.
the season. We also know Lewis Hall came good towards the end of the season, but Howe was quite reluctant to start him. So does he come in to start, and at which position is he? Do you think he's more likely to start at the beginning of the season?
Yeah, so I think it'll be wise to keep Dan Burn at left centre back for now. I think we all saw the improvements like Dan Burn in that position. It's more of his natural position, and it's quite hard to judge yet if Kelly will be good in that position. It might be too almost like too early to put him on that pressure to be playing in that role, but I'm not sure. It's one of those things about what I would think and probably what Hal would do here, but I think myself, I probably wouldn't start Kelly just yet. I think Hall deserves to start at least for the first game and see how we get on. And maybe then the substitution could come in, that Kelly could come in there as well. But knowing how, he probably might feel a bit more confident with Kelly at left back to start because of his experience. Let's face it, he has more experience than Hall to be in that position. So it's going to be interesting there because I do think we'll gradually see over time that Kelly and Hall are probably two different players. And like you say, I want to see that good distribution as well from Kelly, pinging the ball out as well. And like you said, it might not be as razor sharp, let's say, as someone like Botman would do, or feeding that ball, even Fabian Schär to extent, we love seeing the ball being pinged like that. But I think it's a 50-50 for me, but I'm probably leaning more towards that. I can see probably Kelly starting for the first game.
Okay, Jefferson.
I think, knowing how Eddie is, he's going to continue with the side pretty much that ended. But Kelly will be drip fed in, I think. Obviously, pre-season will be a big indicator as well, because if he impresses in those games, that can always change Eddie's mind. But what I would say now, having Kelly in the squad, is that we have recovery pace at the back. Tino and Lewis Hall having a dash back to cover the slow centre backs, could be really useful. And actually, if there are any tactical tweaks where if Hall's on the pitch, we want to push a bit higher, knowing that we've got someone with pace at the back, we're less likely to get caught out. So this is the advantage of signing someone like Kelly. Even if he might not be that great on the ball, his athletic abilities will allow us to push higher up the pitch in theory.
Yeah, that's a good point. And given Eddie how he likes to drip feed his signings in, I think you're probably right. He might start on the bench and not say have to earn his place, but buy this time to get that chance, that opportunity. But something tells me he still isn't too confident in starting Lewis Hall. I think, I don't know. Defensively, I think he doesn't think he's right. He's there just yet. He's still very young. I think that Kelly's more likely to start at left back going into the start of the season. I'd like to see Lewis Hall get the opportunity to start and see what he can do with a decent run in the team. But if I had to put my money in, I think Kelly again. If he impresses in pre-season, I think he will be the preferred option at left back. But I mean, personally, I'd like to see him at left centre back and keep Hall on the left. Dan Burn has done a decent job there, but I don't think he's the answer. I think he's a good backup, but I just don't think he's the answer. So, but time will tell. Time will tell. But yeah, happy with the signing. He seems very chuffed. So after the disappointing news of losing out on Tolson, we had to get this one over the line. Otherwise, serious questions would have to be asked. But yeah, man, we got it done. We got it done. We're heavily linked to other players. One that seems almost sure to come in at some point in the goalkeeper area. I know it's a big bugbear, huge discussion amongst Newcastle fans. James Trafford. It looks like from Burnley we are looking, I'll say almost certain, but apparently personal terms are agreed, and it's just a case of his medical, and he will be next through the door. What are your thoughts on this signing, Jefferson, or the potential signing? Because we know we had the situation with Mamardashvili as well. who we thought we were interested in, but it turns out that Trafford is now the preferred option. So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you mentioned that sort of that wet dream signing, which I'm sure we'll come on to later when we cover the Euros games. But yeah, concentrating on Trafford for the moment, it is listen, it's not a signing that excites for me. We know that he played, I think it was 28 Premier League games, got dropped in favour of Muric, and conceded over 60 goals, which is over 2 a game. And we got a Martin Dubravka's back for a similar kind of form. Obviously, the pluses would be okay. He's a young player. Eddie has a record of improving players, but we know the position we're in now, where we're chasing for Europe, using some of our budget to sign basically a legitimate number 2, potential future number 1. Is it a waste of resources? Is it a waste of time? And that's where the likes of sort of Mamardashvili comes in, where it's like, okay, should we be planning to sign what you would call a generational signing, where you've looked at the likes of Liverpool signed sort of Allison, Man City signed Edison, going way back. Obviously, Neville always talks about the signing of Peter Schmeichel for Man United. Starting with your goalkeeper and moving forward from there could be transformational for the team. Do I think Trafford is good enough for us at our level? No. It's as simple as that. He was relegated, and I'm not going to jump on people's backs, but they're going to say, look, he's got talent. Eddie can develop him, give him time. But like I said, I feel particularly with this season, it has to be a robbery. It has to be a smash and grab to get in that top 4, minimum top 6. So we don't have time or capacity for this kind of signing, in my opinion. And I'm slightly underwhelmed, if I'm going to be honest with you.
Before we go to you, AC, I don't know this guy's qualities. Is he better with his feet than Nick Pope? Like, what is it that he brings? Does anyone know? Like obviously the stats don't look too promising, but obviously he had a good Euros under 21 beginning of last season, end of last season. So maybe we've signed him on the basis of that. But do we know what he brings that will change the way we play, or is it just another Nick Pope that can, but just younger? Do we know?
In that tournament, I did, particularly the final, because I watched the final. He made some really good saves. So clearly a good shot stopper, similar to what we have with Pope. But at least with Pope, his awareness, in and around the 18-yard box, being that extra sweeper, is why Pope is so good. I didn't watch enough of Burnley this season, but again, going by the goals conceded record,
They were just getting slapped week in, week out. Mate. They're just,
he wouldn't have time
it's
to
not
do
looking
any of
good.
that.
But AC, okay, so given the fact that, because I've heard a lot of talk about it, so given the fact that we've lost out on the free transfer of Tosin, right? So that immediately means we're gonna have to spend a bit of money on another centre back. So do you
Yeah.
think that was part of the reason why we've gone for Trafford instead of the more expensive Mamardashvili, because we need to budget for now spending money on a centre back? Is that
Yeah, I do think so. I think it was also a big surprise to everyone when we heard this like rumor news coming through, and it was just like, what? And I did a bit of investigation, starting going back through Burnley's games, just the highlights, mind you, of the games that he played. And there are definitely some faults where the defense was at, but at the same time, I saw some, arguably goals that got let in where you think he could have done better to approach it. And at the same time, he is quite young, and it's one of those things where we might not see, or I can't see at the moment, of why this is almost going to be a signing that we need to make at this particular time. But maybe, like you said, it is the option due to our budget, because in the next sentence, we're thinking about not just a new centre back as well, but also a right wing as well. And we are currently being tied to Elise as well, possibly, which once again seems like we're neck and neck with Chelsea again. And
we ain't neck and neck, bro. We ain't neck and neck. We're behind Chelsea. Let's keep it real. We're behind Chelsea, bro. We can dream.
Chelsea, they always want to steal our food at the moment, man. Some canteen madness, but yeah, it's a weird one, because I feel like, I'm happy that Newcastle want to like go for and put the money and resources into like bigger positions, which we need to like invest in heavily. Like if they splash cash of like 50, 60 mil, let's say, on the right wing, I'll take it if it means that we have to have the signing of Trafford at a particular time. But it's one of those ones where it's really hard to judge this keeper. I need to see more, and if he's good with his feet or not, I'm not sure. And I didn't see enough evidence from the games or the highlights. Well, I didn't watch all the highlights, let's say, at Burnley.
Who did? No one ain't watching them, bro.
But I try to watch as much as I can just to get a little bit of a grasp. But to be fair, it's an unfair thing because let's say Burnley did have a really tough season and they were getting goals leaked in from all different angles. So the defense is to blame, keepers to blame. It's a tough one.
And let's be honest, if and when he does sign, other fan base will back him to the hills anyway. So he'll be more than welcomed into the squad and stuff. So it's just a bit when you're linked to a high profile keeper like Ramadashvili, and then all of a sudden it's you're going for the young, dare I say, English alternative. You see a pattern emerge, and then you start thinking, what are we doing, kind of thing. But time will tell, and it's not guaranteed, by the way, because I saw something today that the sticking point is because Man City get they've got a portion of the
sell-on
transfer
clause,
yeah, sell-on clause. So that's cruising a bit of a sticking point. So time will tell, but it does seem like he will be there eventually. But you mentioned obviously the right wing position, Michael Elise. Let's be honest, it will be a dream signing. It would be a dream signing. We've got permission to talk to his representatives. Personally, I cannot see him moving up north, and we cannot offer him European football. So yes, we're a bigger club than Crystal Palace, but in terms of what we can offer at the moment, it's the same. So what is maybe a bit more money, but when you've got Chelsea, you can obviously offer more money, and they're London based and they're playing European football. And I think as weeks go by, you're going to see more and more clubs linked to him and coming in for him, bigger clubs like Liverpool, maybe Man United, and they can all offer European football. It does show ambition, the fact that we're willing to meet his release clause of 60 million. It does show them we're looking to strengthen definitely in that right wing area, because we cannot go into another season with Miguel Almiron as our starter. I will actually lose it if he is. But he has to bounce, man. He has to bounce. But, I actually think, do you know what? I think we will get eventually. I think we're more likely to get Jared Bowen. I think,
Really?
yeah. I think I've seen a few murmurings about that one. But is that someone you'd be okay with? I mean, is that it's an improvement on Miggy, but is it an inspiring signing?
It's a tough one. It's not. If I have my shopping list here, it wouldn't be in my top list or top 3 of people I would like to sign. But at the same time, I know he's a proven player, and at the moment he's having a bit of a highlight. He's in the England squad at the moment, and who knows, he could perform quite well in this Euros. So I wouldn't mind seeing that. I don't know. It's a hard one, isn't it? It's a tough one to take on, but I think the latest thing I saw today around Elise, now this is also rumor mill, so take this with a pinch of salt, that apparently Palace want the full money up front, and Chelsea in a position they can't necessarily do that. So I don't know if that favors us, but at the same time, I don't really know what the situation is with our financials at the Newcastle club at the moment, because they're very hush. They keep it on the low, which I like, to be honest. I don't want our financial spread all over Twitter, but it's an interesting time. I don't know how this situation may go, but like you said, other clubs like Man United, etc., they could come around and just swoop as well underneath the feet. So it's definitely one to keep an eye on.
AC, I think in terms of the financial situation, there's been figures sort of put out there, but no specific figures, and I think it's believed that we need to recoup in the region of 15 to 20 million, and we've got until the end of the month, so we've got 11 days. So someone's going to have to be sold to recoup these funds to make sure we comply with the PSR rules. But I've got a theory, and I think I saw that we were linked to Noni Madueke, and from what I've heard, Chelsea are looking to sell Chalobah, Madueke, Gallagher, amongst other players. So it may be a situation that Elise goes to Chelsea and they need to recoup funds, and we need a winger, and we could take Madueke, which, you know what, I wouldn't be against, because he did
I
well at
like him.
PSV. Yeah,
I
he
like him.
looks direct. And I prefer a winger. Don't get me wrong. There was me talking last week about having a more prolific winger, but I think he's someone that could provide a lot of assists. I know Jacob Murphy got, I think it was at 8 assists, but he only got 3 goals. I'm not saying you have to get what Gordon got, which is a 10 and 10
Mm,
plus, but we need a bit more than that. And I think Madueke with his pace could be a real threat. So
yeah, he's
what's your
fast,
space
isn't
on
he?
that one?
Let's just get rid of Mickey first, innit? Because I got a suspicion that he's gonna dig his heels in. Like he could have gone in January, for 25. Apparently the Saudi club's gonna come in for him, but I think he's got his heart set on going back to Atlanta. But time will tell. We'll see how ruthless we are anyway, because like I said, we've got to raise that money. We spoke about Chelsea needing to that they're offering players and stuff, but is Matson's their player, right? Who's on loan to Dortmund, isn't it?
Apparently, he
So
might be going Villa
Villa for
on the team
37 million.
with
Yeah,
a
for 30.
swap with Duran and some
Well,
money or something
they're
like
now saying
that.
they're now saying 37 million they've agreed. So that would ease a lot of their financial issues. So um but yeah, like I said, at least it would be a dream signing, but there's other options out there. Bowen I wouldn't be too upset with. But I think we can probably get younger, maybe more promising. But yeah, listen, time will tell. Time will tell. Still a long way to go in this window, but we'll see. We'll see. So yeah, yeah,
Definitely some twists and turns coming.
well, yeah, that's it. And as the weeks go by, we'll be talking about it in our podcast. So yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting. So far, no need to panic. We've made the defensive signing, possibly a keeper, linked to a winger now. So looks like we're heading in the right direction. I just hope we get better at negotiating, because we seem to drag out these transfers, and then all of a sudden the next comes in and just takes the player, takes the target. But
Shh.
we'll see. We'll
You,
see.
you know what you said earlier about the difference in quality of the targets? All I could
Yeah.
think of was shopping at Marks and Spencer's or Waitrose, and then suddenly having a shop in Morrison's or something.
Yeah.
Not dissing anyone that shops in Morrison's, by the way, you know what I mean? But
But the difference in quality, yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. I hear you.
Waitrose, man, Waitrose.
Waitrose.
Hey, listen, you got Waitrose money, yeah? Okay, okay.
Ballers.
I want Waitrose players. I want Waitrose players. Yeah.
But yeah, all right. So let's move on. As everyone knows, we've got the Euros going on at the moment. Thoughts on it so far? Are you happy with the tournament? Are you enjoying it so far? Are you what's your thoughts?
Well, for me, it's been really good, and I haven't caught every single game, but so far the games seem to be really entertaining. And you know, it's one of those things where the Euros comes on and you forget like how competitive it can be. There's a lot of great teams, and you know,
No easy games. No easy
nah,
games.
there's none. And I know sometimes people might turn their nose up certain games because they're looking at certain national teams thinking they're not going to have to offer, but you will be surprised. And we're going to talk about some of those highlighted games where scores were quite surprising, scores were quite high as well. We seem to be we're not starved for goals, put it that way.
That's the thing. I think up until the England game, I think there was a minimum of 3 goals in every game. Um, it was, and the quality of the goals as well was quite something. So, I mean, Jefferson, have you got any like standout games so far, or what's your view on the tournament so far?
Yeah, man, it's been an interesting one. Obviously, there's been some shocks in there that we've seen, but been really pleased with seeing teams like Albania really give it a go. But my game of the tournament so far has been Turkey v Georgia.
I
That
missed
that
that one. I
that
couldn't. I
was
missed it.
spicy, bro.
Yeah.
Spicy.
What was the
You
final
know,
score?
3-1 Turkey. And
Okay.
you know what? It had drama at the end because you had obviously there was a bit of spice in there. I'm not sure about geopolitics and all that. Don't know if that had a part to play in it. If there is any sort of anyone from Turkey or Georgia, leave a comment in the chat, like educate us. But it felt like there was something going on there, geopolitical wise. There was some beef in the crowds and everything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously Arda Güler, you know, Real Madrid talent. We know about this boy, fantastic goal.
Just on
And
that quickly,
oh yeah,
I did the Talk Sport the other day, and they said how Turkey played two teenagers. They started two teenagers, and that's the first time that a nation has played two teenagers in their starting lineup in the Euros since 1964.
wow,
What?
Yeah, apparently,
That's mad.
that's
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
mad still.
yeah.
That's
But yeah,
crazy.
sorry to cut you.
No, that's all right. That's all right. Yeah, it's a mad stat. But yeah, it felt like it had a bit of everything, particularly at the end because Georgia were getting closer and closer, and they went for broke. Keeper was up, and then Turkey broke away from the corner, and they won it 3-1 in the end. You know, but Georgia gave a really good account of themselves. Obviously, we mentioned, you know, Mamardashvili. You know, it's unfortunate he was on the loser side, but he had a decent enough game. But Turkey just had a little bit too much quality for them on the day, but really closely contested. And obviously, we saw yesterday the frolics and last minute drama of the Portugal game as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been an interesting tournament so far, I think.
So who at the moment? I know it's very early to tell, but who are your favourites to win it? Who do you think is going to win it?
Hey, go on, AC. You go first.
I think it's at the moment. I'm looking at Germany. You know, they are the hosts, and then on home soil, I do feel like they're probably the team to beat right now. We need to see more, obviously, because let's face it, they did face Scotland, and you know, it was a harsh game for Scotland, and we'll see what the outcome is of their second game. But Germany just look like they're cooking on gas right now, and they've got a lot of exciting players who, young players as well. They want to prove something as well, and I feel like France is quite impressive as well. They have such a squad. That squad is ridiculous. Like they've got players like Kamavinga coming off the bench who arguably could be starting, and he's coming off the bench. And you know they've got so much talent, and you know we're also seeing a comeback as well with Kante as well. He's playing great as well, looking like a young man again. And people wrote him off thinking that he was in Saudi, and he's come back. I think there's a lot there. There's a lot.
You know, I saw Kante lining up. What I think was a game before, and I'm thinking like when they won one of their warm up games. I'm thinking this brother's back in the squad. Like I thought he went missing, but there's a credit to him because he played well. He played well. You've got the Mbappe situation. Obviously, he's broken his nose. They haven't confirmed when he's gonna come back, but they did look the way they were knocking it about. France looked decent. Germany, it was hard. I mean, listen, they looked good against Scotland, but it was Scotland. Scotland looked well out. They looked at the time they looked like the worst team. After the first round's gone, they looked like the worst team in that tournament. So obviously they got the game against Switzerland to come, and so you know they could pull it back there. But Germany looked good. France looked good. I think those were the two probably that stood out for me. But
Spain maybe a
Spain,
little bit
Spain,
as well.
Spain as well. Yeah,
Spain.
I do. I say worry because it's not my concern really, but when teams start really well, they tend to kind of like dip as the games go on. Whereas you know a lot of teams start building when they're not particularly great
Growing
first, but
tournament, yeah.
they grow in the tournament. So we'll see. But speaking of teams that you know didn't start convincingly, England, yeah, I'm sure we will watch the game. Beating Serbia 1-0. Starboy here, Jude Bellingham, put on one hell of a performance. Yeah, he just seems to be growing and growing in stature. Like he's only 20 years old and he's moving like a grown man. Like it's scary. It's scary. If he continues on this trajectory, what he will achieve in the game. He's one of the favourites for the Ballon d'Or, along with Vinny. And it could depend on how he does in this tournament. But credit to him, because he saw a couple other players performing previously, Musiala, let's say Gula, a few players like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, especially. So he kind of had to rise and show, yeah, I'm one of these guys too. I deserve to be at this table as well. But let's put Jude's performance aside. How do you think England performed? Like, what were your thoughts on the actual overall performance? I'll start with you, Jefferson.
Listen, they got the win. They got the 3 points, and as Southgate put it at the end, he's like, "Well, that's tournament football." And in some ways, he's right. We could be a slow burner. We were the same with Euro 2020, although it was slightly better performance. We won against Croatia 1-0. I think these Eastern European sides can be difficult to play against. They clearly tried to stifle us. They were very, very physical, and as you saw at one time, Jude just had to just bat up Kostic, because
Mm.
I think they were starting to get a bit frustrated with the fouls. You know what I mean? So it was a difficult game for them, very physical game as well. So I think I wouldn't say it was poor, but we expected better because everyone is seeing England as one of basically joint favourites along with France. Excuse me. So it's quite interesting that both them and France kind of had sort of damp squid 1-0 wins, but they may have time to build throughout the tournament. But yeah, I think anyone that thought England were gonna go, come on and blow Serbia away 3-4-0 were soon shocked. First half I thought was good actually. First
Mm.
half I thought was good. Saka had the fullback on toast. Um, but I think what we're starting to see is we've got a few issues in the team, particularly up front and in that sort of number 10 space. Um, you've got sort of Kane that tends to drop deep. You've got Jude surging into the area, and then you've got Phil coming in off the left, and they're all kind of occupying the same
Similar
position.
spaces.
And
Yeah.
Gareth needs to get that under control. I think if you look at the second half, they probably could have stretched the game by bringing on Anthony Gordon, and he didn't. He brought on Bowen. So and defensive changes like Gallagher. So once again, you don't see enough from this manager to make you think we're going to get this over the line. We're going to win this. He's coming home.
Okay, so what about you, AC?
Yeah, so just to echo you there, Jefferson, that I definitely felt like in the first half there was a good spell for 25 minutes where we looked razor sharp, we looked good, and we had Serbia on the back foot definitely. And going forward, though, I kind of feel like the Foden on the left hand side, and I think a lot of people were saying this, and it doesn't quite work. And I started thinking about the theory that maybe Foden is very similar to Bellingham in that respect, that position they should be playing in. And Foden needs to sit in the middle because every time he's on the left, he wants to come in the middle naturally. And I think that's his natural position. We also got issues knowing that with Kane as well. Kane coming back a bit more deep, and we're just like, no, stay up front, man. Like, we stay up for the long ball. I think they were even saying that on the commentators as well. They were saying, Kane, just stay up front. Like, when we get that ball, we're going to break. Someone's got to be up there. But, I think obviously we're going to be a bit biased here, but I do think Anthony Gordon, he deserves to start, man. I think that guy will set things alight on that left-hand side. And, he not only will he create great opportunities, but he's the kind of guy as well. He would draw a foul. He can draw a penalty. We know that he can do that very well. It's just one of those attributes that he has. So I think it's going to be very interesting with Southgate, how he lines up the next game and see if any changes are going to be made. But also, I think Trent in midfield is a weird one still.
I'm gonna say, yeah.
I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. I think
Wharton's got to start there, surely.
yeah,
You know
come
what?
on, come on.
Yeah, you know what? I'd start with the Trent thing. Yes, I don't think it worked. Maybe he's very fresh playing that for England, but even for Liverpool, he started on the right and he just drifted in. He inverted, and that's when he could really dictate kind of thing. So I think that's the approach that Southgate should kind of take with England. Like I would actually change the lineup slightly, because I think he has a problem, like you said, with Phil Foden out there on the left, the Trent experiment in midfield. I think personally, he won't do this, by the way, but I think he should have, like, obviously you got your keeper situation sorted, but then if you want to play Trent, put him at right back. You can have Walker as the right-sided centre back with Mark Guehi, because John Stones isn't fit. He's not. Yeah, he's hardly played,
Yeah,
and he looks sluggish. He looks slow. So I'd put those two centre backs, and you put Trippier left back. Your midfield: Declan Rice, Jude Bellingham, and Phil Foden. Because Declan Rice can sit, Bellingham can do the box to box, and Phil Foden can roll. Yeah. Then you've got Gordon on the left, Kane up front, and Saka on the right. Because you've got two direct wingers who can get the ball into Kane. Gordon can draw a foul, like you said. Phil Foden can put the thread through the ball. There's no reason for Kane to drop deep when you've got Phil Foden there. Like, I think that will be more
so
suitable.
true.
And also, it's very attacking, but England's best component is attack. They aren't solid defensive, so you might as well just go out. I won't say all out attack, but attack more, like they did in the first 15-20 minutes against Serbia. Do that for the majority of the game, and you'll get more goals, and you'll probably arguably win games more comfortably. The way England are with their personnel. Like you said, Foden wasted on the left. Like, even when he plays for Man City, if he's going to be on the wings, he's on the right hand side because he can cut in and do whatever. On the left, he hasn't got the pace to beat a man and cross it over. He always wants to come in, but he's coming in on his left, like, or on his right, kind of thing, which is the
Yeah,
weaker
yeah,
side. But it's not really going to work. So he's kind of like trying to shoot for him in, and it's blatantly not working. So he needs to be braver. Either if you're not going to play him in that role, then you don't start him. You put Anthony Gordon on that side. But in terms of the game, yeah, first 15-20 minutes, knocking it about quite well, looked very attacking, looked promising, looked up for it. And then they got the goal. Good header from Jude Bellingham. And then they sat back. They sat back and went back, reverted to type, and let Serbia come onto them. Like I said, Saka had a good 45 minutes, had the guy on toast. But then the second half, it's like he figured him out. He was pocketing him. So he
yeah,
in fact, took Saka off. So, and Serbia created one or two opportunities. I think Mitrovic put one wide in the first half, and then you had Vlahovic forced a good save from Pickford. But the positive is, I think England can use that as a base to move on and progress and get better, get used to each other a bit more
yeah,
as the tournament
definitely.
progresses. The main thing was you got the 3 points. Yeah, if it started off with a draw or a loss, that would have been curtains. But I think, bar Germany and France, other nations haven't looked that convincing. So big nations I'm talking about. So, it's not the end of the world. He has to get it right against Denmark. Has to put a convincing performance and get a convincing result against Denmark on Thursday, and then you can start thinking, okay, where about it? But yeah, it's the only one who really stood out for me was Jude Bellingham. I thought Trippier did okay.
Yeah,
And we can talk about the Newcastle-based players and stuff, but Trippier, I thought he did okay. But Declan Rice, right, quickly, very good player, don't get me wrong, and he made some key interceptions and key challenges and stuff. But technically, he is so limited. Yeah, it's unbelievable. I couldn't believe what I was watching. He can't drive with the ball. He can't spray a pass. His mobility is a bit questionable. Like, for 100 and something million, don't get me, he made a difference at Arsenal, but I think, boy, he could get exposure now. He could get exposed in the tournament. His limitation could get exposed, but
oh,
it's up to Southgate to solve that conundrum anyway. But
mm,
yeah, Kane dropping. Kane did well to try and not drop too deep. You could tell he wanted to a lot more, but he kind of played that position. But I think he was frustrated with the lack of
yeah,
touches he was getting.
Yeah.
So I
yeah,
know
And
he was
Jude was
unlucky with the
coming
header.
deep as well. It got to the point of coming back.
Yeah. So
But I think this is what I'm saying with Gareth, right? Reminds me of another manager, really stubborn, afraid to make changes. When they do make changes, and make odd ones. Um, Bringing on Gordon with his pace allows the team to stretch forward. The other thing he could have done is actually Jude, like you said, could drop deeper in a double pivot, take Foden off, and Kane could go in that 10 and bring on Tony, right?
mm,
Because you've then got the option with Trent on the pitch to play long, and he can either hold it up, head it down. Kane's in position waiting. But it just feels very rigid with those choices, or that lack of sort of tactical nous or vision could be what stifles us when we come against sort of top teams. Lack of flexibility.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, so we mentioned Kieran Trippier, and he's included a number of players that's involved in the tournament. So let's quick analysis of how they've done so far. So let's start with Kieran Trippier. Like, how do you feel he's done in that particular game at left back? How do you think he's done?
I think. One second. I think my mic's gone again. Oh,
No,
what
you're
is
fine.
going
No,
on?
you're good. You're good. You're good.
Was that okay?
Yeah.
I think it's on my end. Something's weird. Anyway, yeah, I think with Trippier, he definitely looks back to his usual self. And I'm also comparing with the end of the season here for Newcastle. We know that he wasn't quite finding his usual form, and we have to admit, he was on injuries and things like that. And I know we spoke about in the past episodes of past memories about Carabao Cups and games where Trippier wasn't quite his usual self and felt like he probably needed some games out. But Trippier, he continues to deliver for the shirt. He looks good in the England shirt, always has done. And we got to think as well, he's playing on the left-hand side. That's not his best position. He knows best on the right. But that competition with Walker, man, it's hard to take Walker off that right-hand side. Walker, at this moment, Walker is looking like top 3 right back in the world right now, arguably. And you have to admit it. He never looks out of place. And I think with Trippier, he naturally will get better. I would like to see him probably channel the ball a bit more further on the left-hand side. And that probably echoes back to the point that it would be good to see Gordon on the left-hand side, because naturally Trippier will feed Gordon that ball. I think that was quite evident with Foden. Foden wasn't quite receiving the ball as much. I think the communications are just not quite as clear, but Gordon and Trippier back to back, it'd be like Newcastle United, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was solid. I think he had a decent game. I can't think of too many mistakes that he made, glaring errors. But yeah, I think he was solid. Obviously, the limitation is obviously he's not a bona fide left back. So when he's going forward, his natural thing is to cut back on his right hand side, which obviously kind of slows down the play a little bit. But like I said, if they had a Gordon there, he could feed Gordon, who is more direct on that side anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it will do for the group stages. I was concerned going into the tournament because I saw how against is it who did they play? Is it who did they play before? Is it Israel? Who did they play?
Iceland.
Iceland.
Sorry, yeah. The way they targeted that left hand side, and he was caught snapping a couple of times. I thought, okay, if teams start focusing on it, it could be a problem. But yeah, I think he other than Mark Gray, who I think was a standout defender for England on the other day, I think he was not too far off, if I'm honest. So encouraging from that respect. I do think come the knockouts, if Luke Shaw's fit, I think he will play Luke Shaw ahead of him.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's done himself no harm in that respect so far, anyway.
Yeah, because I think what you're pointing out with Shaw essentially is that we need an attacking threat down that side. Obviously Trippier played the full 90 minutes. He won 4 duels, 8 ball recoveries, so he'll give you everything defensively, in what is an unnatural position for him. But obviously we need something going forward, and against the better sides, again, that sort of thing will count. So yeah, I can see what you're talking about in terms of round of 16 or whatever that might be. If Shaw's fit, then he may well come in.
Okay, so we've had Kieran Trippier. We've got Fabian Schär, who's been on show. How do we rate his performance so far? Obviously, he played the first game. I can't remember who they played. How do you think he did?
Mr. Fabian Schär. He's my man. He's the dude. I feel like I'm a big fan of his, and it's one of those things where I wasn't too sure about how Switzerland might turn up. I wasn't aware of their build up into the Euros as well. But Switzerland looked comfortable, man. And I was just like, yo, this team has got something to prove here. They lined up quite well, and I think his performance, he looks always comfortable, and he did have his few little moments where it's a Fabian Schär move where he has like to get a little bit forward and comes out of position a little bit and try feed man the ball. But yeah, it's almost like the way he plays for our club is the same way he plays for the international as well. And I reckon the coach is almost like allowing him to have that breathing space as well.
Did he? I don't know. Did he do his usual and feign injury halfway through the game for a little bit, or did he stay on his
Holding it,
feet for the whole?
and he does
Yeah,
that.
yeah, all
Yeah,
of that.
yeah.
You know, we do that trademark thing. But
I don't think he
Jefferson,
did actually. I don't know. I
no,
don't know.
Well, they were
Jefferson.
playing high. They were playing quite high, the centre backs, because Akanji actually got an assist, I think, for the first or
Mm,
the second goal.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
So
right.
they were
Yeah.
they were threading it through all day, the centre backs. Do you know what I mean? Um, but I saw something where it said Switzerland have reached the knockout stages in their last 5 tournaments. So they're not one to be underestimated. They're arguably, they'll be in that top 16
yeah.
teams.
It's interesting when you say him and Akanji, um, both like to drive forward, provide assists. Um, they might come unstuck in the later rounds, out of position and that. I think both of them, you'll find a game, they're both playing striker position and there's no centre backs at the back. We'll see. But as long as he comes back unscathed, it's all good. It's all good. We expect them to progress to the next round. Who they face, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, good for him, man. Good for him. Continue
I'm
where he
sure
was
the
a few
women
years
are hoping you don't change the photo, AC.
ago.
So this one was for the ladies. Any lady watchers we got?
Who's that behind him?
Shaboshlai.
Oh, I thought so. Sort of leaving him in his tracks there. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that was a deliberate pick of image, by the way, because it's a little
Yeah.
big of like, yeah, you didn't come to
What
us
could have
last
been, innit?
summer.
What could have
Yeah,
been? Yeah, your
Well,
lot.
yeah,
that would have been a frustration for them as well, because he got the assist for the consolation goal that
Mm,
Hungary got. So I'm sure they would have been frustrated that they didn't get a clean sheet. But that little bit of quality, cut inside, cross, and it was a decent header.
yeah.
Um,
Okay. Okay. So what about our favorite guy, Martin Dubravka? Yeah. What are we saying about Dubravka?
Boy, I mean, listen, Slovakia arguably started off with a shock win. I mean, I don't know again if there's any Slovakian watchers or anybody has been avidly watching the European qualifiers, but I don't think any of us expected Slovakia to beat Belgium.
Oh,
But yeah, no, they got off to a good start of the win, and actually Dubravka was quite pivotal to that. He made 5 saves and got a clean sheet. So anyone that's interested in Martin Dubravka, that's an extra 10 million, please. Uh,
listen.
at least,
Peso.
come on now, come on now.
it's
So
all for sale. It's all for
it's for
sale.
sale,
Listen.
sure sell. But yeah, obviously he's putting himself in the shop window with performances like that, and good for him. Hopefully we can get some good money for him.
Yeah, I mean, listen, quick kudos to him. Clean sheet against the likes of Lukaku, De Bruyne, Trossard. Yeah, listen, you can't really fault him. I mean, we'll see what happens as you go into the latter, or the more games they go on, because he's got a mistake in him. So, or he's very frustrating at times. But yeah, you know what? If this is
Yeah,
his last hurrah, as we see
yeah.
him as a Newcastle, officially a Newcastle player, then you know, who knows? Who knows? Like you said, bump up the transfer value because now Celtic are interested. But they're offering something like 1.8 million or some
Oh
stupidness like that. So
please,
let's get it to at least five. At least
come
five,
on,
innit?
come on,
Yeah, yeah.
come
Um,
on.
But
yeah.
yeah.
But just to say though, that upset though, that Belgium upset, I have to say, it was one of those things where I think few people were feeling it that Belgium, they kind of need to turn up. But we're all waiting for Belgium to turn up in competition, but they don't seem to ever pull it together. And I don't know what it is. I don't know
This
what the method
golden generation is one of the worst we've probably seen from a nation because they've had so many opportunities in so many tournaments and they continue to flatter to deceive. I mean, the likes of De Bruyne doesn't really turn up. Hazard never really did much for them. Lukaku's just, one trick pony, flat trap bully. Don't get me wrong, they were probably harsh. They deserved the equalizer towards the end of the game
Yeah,
last.
I know.
Very
I
harsh.
know.
But still, you should be putting. It shouldn't come down to that. It should not come down to
Lukaku,
that.
man, Mr.
Did you
Mr.
see?
Offside, Mr. Offside.
Did you see
Yeah,
they used that technology? They said it was the first time Snicko, and I'm sure that's what they use in cricket.
how was it?
Yeah, to
Yeah,
check
Huh?
that
yeah,
his
yeah,
fingers had touched the ball. I thought, wow, that's interesting. First time I've
yeah,
seen that
Yeah,
used.
it's like a sensor in the ball or something. Yeah,
yeah. So it's good with the offside thing. How quickly that decision gets made with that new technology, because obviously they're bringing that into the Premier League next season. So that'll be interesting. That'll be good.
that
Get rid of.
offside rule is gonna cause some upset. I'm looking forward to next season with that rule, because
Yeah, yeah.
you ain't catching Isaac offside, man. You're not catching him offside no more.
But you know what? That's a good segue, because we're getting into the next section, which is the Premier League season. The fixtures. The fixtures have been announced. Yeah,
Woo!
Here we go.
here we go. So listen. First of all, overall thoughts. Are we happy with this fixture schedule? And obviously, things will chop and change as the season goes on. But given it what it is at the moment, are you happy with it? Like AC, are you happy with how it is at the moment?
I'm loving this fixture list, man. I'm not a man to like get too hype about our fixture list, but I think only because we're reflecting on how our fixture list was like last time, last season,
Yeah,
and that's all we're like comparing against, really, the way it started. But Southampton at home to start the season, sorry, is a very good one, and I feel sorry for the pressures of Southampton. And I'm also looking forward to the fact we got Tottenham at home not long after as well, a few weeks later. But yeah, overall though, it's looking really good. And I was trying to work out what tough month is looking at for the
Well,
future, and it's
before you do,
gone.
like I think I mentioned on the first pod that my best friend, he supports Newcastle, right? So he sent me a message literally after the fixture list come out, and I quote, he says, "We don't have a team that finished above us away from home until 2025." He said, "Zero excuses for this donkey," and by donkey he means Eddie Howe. Like he-
Wow.
he's like, and he said to me, if we're not at least second by the time we play Manchester City at home, he said, there's something wrong. Eddie Howe needs to bounce. That's how he's moving, bro. Because
Right.
if you look at that,
Wow.
Okay.
We got a
yeah,
new top villain.
listen, I can't even tell you half the stuff he says about Eddie Howe, because he's not happy. He's not happy.
Wow.
Um,
I don't
but
feel
yeah,
crazy anymore. That's
He needs to come on the
fantastic.
pod. He needs to come on the pod.
he
Yeah.
said, he said, if we're not second by the time we play Man City, he said, I'm coming on the pod and I'm going to cuss. Yeah, he said he's going to cuss. So, it is what it is. But Jefferson, just looking at it as a snapshot, are you happy as well?
Yeah, listen, you just got to compare it to last season, wasn't it? Was it the first 5 games?
Mm,
Yeah, I think we had
Mm,
like literally the fixtures from hell. Do you know what
yeah.
I mean? And then obviously Christmas schedule, we had like 9 games in 30 days.
Mm,
It was a bit. I don't know what was going on. It looked like a fix or something from the Premier League, whereas this is a
conspiracy.
complete. It's a complete flip side. And when you look at the fact, yeah, we start against Southampton, favourable. Remember the season we finished fourth, we started against Forest.
yeah.
So that got us
Mm,
off to a good start. So the first 6 games are favourable. December, a crucial period, looks 50-50 to me. Like we could win half, we could lose half.
Well, look
Um,
at this December. We've got Liverpool at home, Brentford away, Leicester at home, Ipswich away, Villa at home, Man United away. So you're
yeah,
looking at, you should be beating Brentford, Leicester, Ipswich. Home to Villa, you'd expect us to probably win that. Home to Liverpool. Now, I can't remember the last time we beat Liverpool. So, but you don't know what we've got to get under Arne Slot. And then away to Man United is always going to be tricky. So you're looking at least 10 to 12 points, but it's the
out of
other two
possible
games.
18.
Right.
Yeah, it's a tricky period, but you're almost clutching at straws there because even if that is a slightly tougher period, if you just look at January, we recover.
Mm,
Obviously it depends on cup runs and all that because January, February, a lot of that time is
yeah.
FA Cup time as well. But we should pick things up again in the new year. So even if we kind of, are a bit shaky in December, we're going to have a real pick me up in January. And then obviously going into those final 4 games, that's what concerns me a little bit, because those 4 games do look
Yes.
tricky. And
Yeah.
if we are in the hunt for top 4, I'd like us to be in the position where we've got enough points in the bag. Like, we need to have 70 points by that point where it's like, you know what, if we get a couple of losses, it won't make too much of a difference. Do you know what I mean?
So for those who don't know, we've got in May, we've got Brighton away, Chelsea at home, Arsenal away, and Everton at home. So for me, would you say, is that the trickiest month we've got, or are you looking at more December time? Because I can't really see too many. It's quite spaced out in terms of play the tougher teams and stuff.
When is our game against Man City away?
That is February the 15th or 16th, whatever it is. February
And that's
16th.
the same month as well. We got Liverpool as well.
Yeah, that's a
We've got
50-50 month as well.
Fulham
We
home
should
to
beat
Fulham.
Forest and Fulham. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. So, I mean, but looking at the first, what, 1, 2, 3, the first August and September. Yeah. All right. Take August. Southampton at home, Bournemouth away, Tottenham at home. How many points are you expecting?
7.
I'm gonna be real with you. I want to see 9 points taken.
Want to see 9.
I want to
But
see 9.
I think we take 7.
I would probably say 7.
I can see Bournemouth us dropping points for some reason.
You know what? I'm looking at the Spurs one, and simply because we usually slap Spurs at home in it, but Spurs tend to start the season very well. If you notice, for the last season up until October, they start really well. So I think, and it's not like if it was later on in the season, what we have done for the last 2 seasons at home, we slapped them. Yeah. The good thing is, this is when Tonali's back, his first league game.
Yes.
Back. Yeah.
Yes.
So he will have a point to prove.
Oh,
but then,
boy, AC.
Sandro Tonali. Come on.
But then he'll start on the bench, and you know Eddie's not going to start him. So
Nah, man. If I have to turn up Newcastle myself and knock on Eddie Howe's door and say, put the man in the starting lineup, I'm there, right? Because this man been sidelined for so long. You telling me you're going to bench him? No.
Are you expecting a big season from him? Right.
It's a shame we can't. It's a shame we can't see Tonali in pre-season. It's.
Oh, he can't play pre-season either.
Nope.
Even though it's a friendly.
No.
No. I think
yeah.
That's a problem then.
Yeah. He's not going to play.
We have no idea how Tonali's performing, but
So with Tony, thinking back to Tony, how many games did it take Tony to get match fit or to get?
Tony hit the ground running, didn't he? Because he started scoring as soon as we basically come back.
I think he scored on his first game back, you know.
Yeah.
I think he
But
did.
the difference is he wasn't allowed to train for a long time with Brentford. With Tonali, he's been training all the way through. So, and the way apparently Eddie trains how he plays, so he shouldn't take too long to get acclimatized. You know what I mean? So, and he's experienced the Premier League before, so you know he's had a few games before he got the ban. So,
all right.
Time will tell.
I'm going to put it out there. Tonight he's going to have a big season. I'm putting it out there. He's going to be that new signing feeling. That's me. I'm gonna put that on my shirt right there. I'm right with it.
Okay. Your new Adidas shirt, yeah?
My new Adidas shirt, yeah. I'm gonna put Tonali on the back. Watch me. Nah, man. I'm expecting big things. I think he's got a lot to prove. He wants to prove himself. The guy's just been training behind the scenes, and I think he's gonna be ready. So I expect, okay, if it hits the fan, he does get benched. He could be that good impact sub we need as well in that game. But I'm expecting 9 points in that first month. I'm gonna say 9.
Okay, so before we wrap, then, up until we play Man City at home, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. So Southampton, Bournemouth, Spurs, Wolves, so 5 games, and Fulham. Yeah. How many points are you expecting from those 5 games before we play Man City at home?
13.
Yeah. I think that's reasonable. I think 13.
I think so as well. I think, yeah. 13 is still good. It's still reasonable.
Okay. So basically, we should be within the top 2 or 3 by that time. I mean, I haven't seen the other teams' fixtures and that, but I know Arsenal got quite a tricky start at some point. But yeah, it's
So in the last pod, when you
yeah.
said, where do you think we should be finishing? And I said like 4th. And you man like jaw drop, like, you sure? Right. I mean, it's been recorded, it's there for evidence. But no, jokes aside, I think
I'm gonna circle back on that, you know.
I think 4th is on, man. Not in 4th, but yeah, it's on. And like you said, there's 0 excuses now. I feel like there's no distractions. Don't get me wrong, Carabao Cup, FA Cup will come along when they do. We'll deal with it accordingly. But August and September at least to start the season, it's in our hands, man.
Yeah, you know what? I'm actually quite optimistic, given obviously like I said, the schedule can change, but given the sequential order of those fixtures, I cannot. We should not be going on. Listen, everyone has dry spells in the league, in it, but there's no things where you look at it like, oh, we've got to play this, and this in the next 3 games. But saying that, we had a run of, what was it, Luton, Forest, and Bournemouth last season, and we took minimal points out of that. So
Yeah.
you can't really get too ahead of ourselves. But again, no distractions of Europe. 1 game a week, no excuses, no excuses. So I'm expecting a big season based on that alone. Obviously, we see what transfers we do before that,
Yeah.
but especially those first 5 games, we should be very optimistic, very optimistic. So
So
yeah,
all
we'll
we
see.
we got
All
to
we
do
need now
now,
is a good window. That's all we need.
exactly,
Well, that's
sign
it.
Elise, man. Ooh, this picture could look different
Well, we
instantly.
signed Elite, we're winning the league, mate. We're winning the league. Yeah, I'll tell you that now. We're winning it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ah!
And I can say that because we're not going to sign him. So it is what it is.
Ah.
But yeah, I think that's a good place to leave this episode. So to all the listeners, the watchers, thanks again for the subscriptions and the views from the last podcast. But please continue to like, comment, and subscribe. You can hit us up on the X, should I say, not Twitter, on the X, 90s Mags 1990. That's 90S Mags 1990. But yeah, until next time, peace.